So you probably already have an opinion on homage watches. You know, watches that take others' designs and either draw on that inspiration and create something original, or that just rip off another brand but sell their watch for a tiny fraction of the price. The Cadison C8232 is a homage, or really a rip-off of the Helm Komodo, a watch that has a price tag of a not unattainable $295. It also has a waiting list of around, well, I don't know, but they're currently contacting around 200 customers per month. So should you just wait for the real thing, or is the Cadison, or any homage really, worth a buy? Full disclosure, this watch was sent to me by Cadison and I don't have to send it back, hence the paid promotion badge in the corner, but the brand haven't had any copy approval and are seeing this at the exact same time you are. To help out a very sad, lonely man in his bedroom making videos about watches, make sure you hit subscribe. Let's get right into the specs from the get-go then. Like the Helm Komodo, this is 40mm, the lug-to-lug is 46mm, it's a fairly svelte 12mm thick, and sized up for my bang average 6.5 inch wrist, it weighs 149 grams, so there's a decent bit of heft to this fairly compact watch. And that could be thanks to a bracelet that doesn't taper at all. This starts at 20mm at the lugs and it remains 20mm, with the clasp jumping ever so slightly to 22mm. The movement is the automatic Seiko NH35, which in a watch that costs just 50 quid is probably better than you'd expect. I thought at this price it'd be a generic Chinese movement or maybe even a quartz movement, but this is a pretty good start. And let's continue in that vein. What else does this get right for 50 quid? Well, firstly, the all brushed finish. There's not a single polished facet on this watch and it's all the better for it. It means it's got a muted look and there are no transitions where that 50 quid price tag could become conspicuous. I also appreciate the fact that this is 100 meters water resistant with a screw down crown, and that has a reassuringly decent action. So Cadison haven't tried to overdo it on the specs in that regard. The legibility isn't an issue either. This comes in the same colours as the Helm original, with this white and blue model, a black model, and a sort of Doxa orange model. The white colourway would always be my preferred option with these cheaper watches, as often the sapphire crystals can be very cloudy, like on the Seamaster 300 Cadison homage that I reviewed a while back, and the white dials generally help with legibility, I think. It's not a stark white though, the dial is more of a silvery white, and this, along with the AR coated sapphire crystal, is the clear highlight of the watch. Underneath that crystal, however, there are still no imperfections, the rehaut aligns nicely, and the date cutout looks great. Cadison have put the words Aqua Diver, I guess that's the model name, on a little strip of silver, which I like, just as I do the font. There's just 2 lines of dial text. I don't hate the Cadison logo, rare for me with a Chinese homage brand, and the proportions are all good, which sadly I can't say about your mum. In fact, let's stay with that for a sec. So your mum, okay, a £50 price tag might guarantee some fun, but it will mean you might end up questioning that decision, given something more authentic and long lasting wouldn't actually cost all that much more. Yeah, that sounds a lot like this Cadison. So the real Helm Komodo at $295 or about 250 quid is roughly 5 times the price of the Cadison. That might sound a lot, but it's not the same sort of decision as getting a San Martin Submariner homage for about 150 quid rather than paying 9 grand for the original. That San Martin would only cost about 1.7% of the price of a real Rolex. This Cadison is closer to 20% the price of the Helm, and you'd only need another 200 quid to just get the Helm. What I'm saying is, in this case, there isn't that huge a gulf between the price of the homage and the price of the real thing. And you probably won't have to make the sort of compromises that you do with this Cadison, like the bezel action. It's a 120 click unidirectional bezel and it moves with the change of the wind direction. I could probably turn it by looking at it long enough. It won't take you all that long to see it's misaligned though. It's not a million miles off, no, but it's enough to notice just. The clasp is fine, and a milled clasp is still a bonus on a watch that costs just 50 quid. Though it's only got 1 extra micro adjustment hole and there's no half links with the bracelet or anything, so you'd better hope that you don't have a weird size wrist. My final complaint though is the colour. Not the dial colour, which I will reiterate is a really nice silvery white, the sort that your mum likes splattered across her back, But the indices, the bezel markers, the hands, the colour of these I can only describe as a sickly sea blue. The hands and bezel markers are actually a brighter shade of sickly sea blue than the indices, but none of them actually replicate the colour of the helm. The real Komodo features brighter celeste blue markers and indices. They're subtle in bright light and anything but in the dark, judging by the loom shots. The loom on the Cadison, well, let's just say the sickly sea blue isn't nearly as potent. The AliExpress listing for this watch just says luminous hands, so I'm guessing it's not C3 or BGW9 loom, and nor does it last anywhere near as long. But maybe that is asking quite a lot. After all, for 50 quid, this is a very, very good watch. But you can have all of those compromises removed by getting the real thing, which is only going to cost you about 250 quid. Maybe it'd be better to put the 50 quid you were going to use towards the Cadison towards the real thing instead. I mean, you're already 20% of the way there. Let me know what you think of this watch in the comments below. Many thanks to Cadison for sending this in for review, but most importantly, thank you for watching. If you want to see more AliExpress homages, then check one of these two videos. I'll see you next time.